We're good. So thank you, everyone. I just need to get back to my screen so I can see all your beautiful faces. Okay, everyone in came. So thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm Jessica McCready, the Executive Director of the Camano Island Chamber, and I was thrilled to be able to host this meeting for the Stanwood Camano School District so that they can present the information that everyone is curious about the upcoming levy. So I'm just going to hand it over to you guys to introduce yourself. We are recording this, so I will send this out to all of our chamber members along with the, I'll get a PDF or a copy of your presentation, Deborah, so that I can attach that so that people can watch that in their own time. But without further ado, it's all you.
All right, well, thank you. I appreciate you allowing us to come and share information about our upcoming levy. Obviously, I'm Deborah Rumbaugh. I am the, at some point I get to stop saying the new superintendent, but maybe not yet. It's only October. Superintendent of the school district. And with us today are Steve and Charlotte. So I'd love for them to introduce themselves and their role, and then we'll dive in. Charlotte, you want to start us off?
Sure. I'm Charlotte Murray, and I am one of the school board directors for Stanwood Camano.
And Steve?
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Lidgard. I'm the Executive Director of Business Services for the Stanwood Camano School District.
Thank you. And without my colleagues and board members, we would not be able to make all of these visits and share information on the levy and answer questions. So I'm appreciative to both Charlotte and Steve that are with us today. And please unmute yourself and jump right in anytime you would like to. It's open invitation. So I'm going to share my screen and show you, there it is. I'm going to show you the levy flyer that we have on our website. So thumbs up if you can see a levy flyer. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this again is on our website, and it is information that we wanted to share with you and several other groups over the next month or so about the levy that we have proposed for the February 8th, 2022 ballot. And what we are proposing is a replacement levy that would replace a levy that was initiated back in 2018. So it's an expiring levy. This levy would replace that, and it would keep the tax rate level. So you can see down here towards the bottom of the first column that we are projecting a tax rate of 27 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. So that is, we expect that to be consistent with last year. So not looking at an increase in taxes for our voters and our residents. This particular levy is intended to fund capital projects and technology. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but the window of time for that is 2023 through 2026. So this type of levy is often referred to as a 50-50 split levy. And that split is between capital projects and, like I said, our technology. So when we think about levies for capital projects, we're looking for things across the district that are maintenance and improvement related. So new roofs, replacing sprinkler lines at some of our elementaries that are on the list, portable maintenance as we use and abuse our portables on a daily basis, updating our public address system. So both infrastructure and in some cases, hardware and software as it relates to projects across the district. The other half of the levy is associated with technology. And so we have to continuously stick to a cycle of replacing classroom computers, teacher laptops, and another big item are Chromebooks. And we'll talk a little bit more about Chromebooks. The other thing that our technology levy does is it helps to fund our subscriptions for some of, or I guess it would be all of the programs that we run on our devices. And then it just helps to maintain and operate our district technology as a whole. And so those are the sort of the big items on the levy. And we make determinations about what's on the levy based upon a community group. So we have a diverse group of individuals across the community that gather together and help us think about what are the projects on the capital side and on the technology side that are most important to the community. That's where that list comes from. We scroll down to the second page of the flyer, you can see what the sample initiative or proposal will look like on the ballot. So it's proposition number 1, there's a description, and then it outlines the approximate tax, which is 27 cents per 1,000 assessed value, and then identifies levy amount. So if you add that up, that is a little under $11 million over a 4-year span of time. And then of course there's an ask there for folks to make a vote yes or no. And so our ask of you today is, as you hear questions or as you have questions, and we'll give you an opportunity to ask any that folks might have in the community, that you send them our way. We're happy to talk with folks personally. We pick up our phones around here, as Steve likes to say, and we will answer any questions that we that our community members might have. One question that we hear on a somewhat consistent basis, and this would be across the state, not just in Stanwood Camano, is a question about our Chromebooks. So Chromebooks, it's always fun to share. They are not laptops. They look like laptops. They sometimes act like laptops, but they actually are a device with a defined life cycle or subscription on them. And so those devices are relatively inexpensive, and they do in fact expire at a certain time, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So they become inoperable for students. So we have a cycle where we update those so that our students have access to the latest technology, both in the classroom and at home, utilizing those devices in a one-to-one manner. So I'm going to stop sharing here for a moment. I'm going to invite Charlotte and Steve to add anything that I may have missed or you feel like is an important note to add.
I would just add, on the technology side, when we're talking about the Chromebooks, yes, they have an expiration date on that. And part of the levies, the proposal with the levy is that, you know, we're rotating those out. So those dollars aren't going completely to replacing every Chromebook at this time. So we've got this rotation cycle where that way we're able to keep and maintain enough Chromebooks for everyone in the school district.
Yeah, thank you for that. Steve, anything to add?
So those Chromebooks were what allowed us to do the one-on-one when we were in hybrid and remote learning. Each student has their own Chromebook. On the technology or the capital project side, these are major projects that are not funded by the state. So that's why we go out and ask for this. When we went out for 2018, we talked about playground upgrades, safety upgrades in both the schools on the island. In fact, all 5 elementaries now have brand new playgrounds with safer ground when kids fall. Kids still fall. They don't have gravel in their knee anymore because they're better base. But this does things that keeps our buildings lasting a long time. So Cedar Home's roof is now 20 years old. So we've had consultants come out, look at the roof, look at the parking lots, and that's how these things got onto the levy. And again, it's replacing an expiring levy. It'll give us a known source of funding for the calendar years 23 through 26. So it really helps the board of directors and administrators plan out ahead of time. And as Deborah said, we're not here to say vote yet, which way to vote. We're just here to give information. And if you have questions, which I hope you do today, or if you hear of questions, please direct them to us. This is part of our job, is to get the information out. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. So this is where we'd love to entertain and answer any questions that anybody on this call might have. And I guess I would just open the floor to that now. If anybody wants to unmute and ask a question.
I have a question, no one else does yet. Does this also include I know the hotspots were a big thing last year. I hadn't seen those before. So is that continuing, and does this levy address the need possibly for hotspots again?
It does. That's part of our technology expenditure package. Sometimes those hotspots, the funding can be matched in the community. Steve, do you have a specific on hotspots related to this particular levy?
I don't have it right in front of me. I could pull it out. I believe it's around $40,000 a year, but that was a it became much, we didn't budget that much when we started. The remote learning put us into that, in that situation. But everyone that needed a hotspot because of lack of connectivity at their home, or if parents were working at home and they didn't have enough broadband width, received a hotspot.
Yeah, and hotspots are an approved levy expenditure. It's an interesting program where there's a lot of matching that can happen throughout the course of the year. And so sometimes that reduces the expenditures on the district side because we can partner with others and they will help pay for some of those. And but yes, it's an approved levy expenditure. Good question.
Yeah, I think especially for Camano, with the holes that we have with internet service, I just think that that's, even for kids doing homework, right? Even if in school for kids doing homework. So Milt asked a question in the chat, why Chrome rather than Windows or Apple?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the answers to that question has to do with loss and turnover. So a Chromebook can run between $250 to $500 or $600 based upon how long it can be in use before it expires. And as Charlotte alluded to, we stage those so they don't all expire at the same time. It's a constant rotation. So in terms of device loss, if we have a student that loses or their laptop or their Chromebook or moves out of the district, the loss is somewhere between, the hundreds of dollars versus potentially, $1,000 or $1,200. They also tend to be a far sturdier device than some of the others that we have utilized before. And then, Apple does the same, but Chromebooks actually articulate very nicely with a lot of the school-based software that we utilize in our buildings as well. Steve, anything you want to add on the Chromebook versus an HP or an Apple device?
No, I learn more every day. We talk about they're just very durable and they're set up for schools. And as Deborah said, they do get broken. There's nothing like, it's just like losing a textbook. But So we do have and we were in a good spot when the pandemic happened. We were close to one-on-one at that point. So we were fortunate to have this levy in place and working towards that.
Yeah.
And we open it up for questions. It doesn't just have to be about this particular levy. If you have the superintendent and a board member here, if you want to ask about the construction or anything, we're open to that too. So.
Yeah.
Any school-related questions? I will say I appreciate having two children with Chromebooks. I appreciate the durability of them. I don't worry about them carrying those around. So I think that is kind of key.
Loss and damage is a big component of device management. So the sturdier, the better.
Yes. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Oh yeah. Is that you, Marilyn?
Yes, this is Marilyn. And one of you said earlier that if we had any questions to get a hold of you, can Jessica send out an email list or to us so that we can email somebody?
Absolutely.
With questions?
Yes, I will put mine in the chat, but you definitely can reach us. Jessica, are you comfortable sending that out?
Yes, yep, I did it with the recording and everything else.
Thank you.
Great. How's the new high school, the building? What's the feedback you guys have been receiving this year about it?
Yeah, I actually was just there with King 5 News, actually. So look tonight at the news. King 5, I think it's going to be 5 o'clock. They're actually going to run some footage they took for the great shakeout that happened at 10:21 this morning. It is a beautiful and sturdy building. That's one of the things that the great shakeout helps us with. And we are excited with the opportunity to be able to begin to open our buildings up. The high school included, maybe at the top of the list with Saratoga and Lincoln, for folks to get inside and see. Yes, they're beautiful, but they're also safe. And it is really nice to have a community that supported the bonds necessary to build that building. We're still kind of going through the punch list, just like when you buy a home, and you've got all the little blue tape on things that need to be fixed, but we're working through that. It's also been really nice this year to test drive the building at full capacity, which last year was half capacity. And when you bring everybody on board, then you find, the locks and the doorknobs and the other little things and the blinds that need to be adjusted. So we're in the process of doing that currently and hopefully wrapping that up soon. So Milt, you didn't hear the sirens. Oh yeah, well, we definitely heard them in the school buildings for sure. But I had heard that they were going to be heard out in the community. And yeah, I wonder about that. We play our own recording. So we actually have that recording we get on our all school PA and we play it ourselves. So that might be a good community question.
Another question that I've received separately, but are you anticipating or have you seen issues with limited staff, the vaccine mandate, or bus drivers was the call that I received specifically?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So we've been very fortunate to not be in a position where we're going to have to consolidate bus routes or go back to grab and go lunches or any of those kinds of things. I think total we had, I'm going to say 5.5 individuals who are either in process of vaccination, so didn't quite make the deadline just in a matter of days, or were non-responsive to the district's request to show evidence of immunization status. So the ones that are just in progress, we're just sort of on hold and they'll be back on the job site in a matter of days. And those that were not responsive, we notified them that they're essentially on leave from the district. And we just wait to hear back from folks on that end. But I think we are absolutely an outlier in terms of the small number of individuals that were impacted. And I feel very grateful for that, particularly in the bus.
5.5. Yeah, 5.5 people total across the entire district.
Across the entire system, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And that really equates to one individual in each of our classifications. So one teacher, one bus, one custodial, one lunch, and one para. So it's interesting how that landed.
Yeah, that would be an interesting study there, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Any other questions? So what would you just like for us to do as business owners and chamber members, just help spread the word about the levy? What would your request be?
Yeah, definitely just share facts about the levy and when it will be on the ballot. We do have flyers and we bring those with us when we're in person. So that's another way to share the message, which we don't have those today. So I would just say share the word about the levy and then send folks our direction if they have questions. And not only Charlotte, but any board member can answer questions on the levy and are excited to do that for us. So we just always have to be really cautious that we're not promoting the levy. We're just providing information and asking everybody to study the issue and then vote your conscience, as they say, when it comes to election day.
Okay. And again, this is not on the ballot that you just received. So it's not like they left it off your ballot. You received this ballot in mid-January for a February election.
Okay, that's good information to
know. It's not the current. We're just a little ahead of the game due to the number of meetings that we have.
Right, and to try to beat the holidays, right, when everyone's super busy. Good.
Right. And you'll get some mailers from us that will come out periodically, probably a total of 2 + 1, so maybe 3, just again, reminding you of the very same information. So just sharing that is really what we're here to do today.
Great. Well, we are good at sharing information. So we will do our best to get that out there. If there aren't any other questions for the school district, I have a couple general chamber announcements. So as everyone probably knows, we had to cancel the chili cheddar cook-off again. Last year would have been our 25th annual chili cheddar cook-off. So it's a little heartbreaking. And what's that?
I said, that's very sad because that's such a huge community event.
It is. It's, 25 years, right? We call it the largest cook-off in the Pacific Northwest. I have no idea if we actually, but I always say that it is. And it's also our biggest fundraiser for the chamber. So 2 years in a row to not have that event is really disappointing. But we did not need to, be on the news for a super spreader event. And it was the absolute opposite of social distancing at Chili Cheddar in the past. So instead, we have started a new event called Shop Local, Win Local, which actually started last Friday, October 15th, and it runs through November 19th. And the purpose of it is to encourage everyone in the community to just support our local businesses. Lots of the businesses I spoke with really want people to shop early. They're very concerned about the supply chain issue come the holidays, and they don't really need help encouraging people to shop after like Thanksgiving. They need help getting people in the doors, spending money now in those stores. So we have 21 participating businesses in Stanwood and Camano, and you can find the list on our website. But basically every $5 you spend in that business, you get one drawing ticket. And so there's no limit. You can get as many drawing tickets as you want. You do have to be prepared to write your name and phone number on every single ticket. So I do have labels. Marilyn, yours is coming in the mail. So I'm telling people, if they really want to spend a lot of money, print labels with your name and phone number, or else you will get writer's cramp. But it's just a fun incentive every Friday. So tomorrow will be the first. Each of those 21 businesses will pull one name and give out a gift certificate every week for the next 5 weeks. And then they also have a gift basket and a draw from. But the biggest draw is that on November 20th, which is the day after the event ends, I'm going to go collect all the tickets from all the 21 businesses, put them in a big, huge spinny, and draw one name for the grand prize. And the grand prize is $2,000 of gift cards and an overnight stay at Tulalip with a food certificate, an overnight stay at Angel Winds with a food certificate, and $400 of cash. So the grand prize is enormous, and it'll really make someone's day. So every time you spend $5 in those 21 businesses, you get more of a chance to win that prize. So shop local, shop early, support our businesses. That's kind of my 2 cents. So we obviously aren't having chili cheddar. We're also not having our holiday mixer this year. Anything that involves food and drinking inside without masks, it's just kind of not something that we feel comfortable doing. So we will be sending you all a holiday card to thank you for being a chamber member this year. But we're working on our 2022 schedule for chamber meetings. So if you have suggestions of things you'd like to see, then just let me know, because I'll be working on that soon. And that's, I think, all I have to say from the chamber, but we appreciate the school district being here. Does anyone have any last minute questions? Okay, you got, this was number what, Deborah? Number 4? Oh, you're muted, I think. Whatever it was, good. All right, thank you everyone for being here. Have a great day.